I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, September the 10th, brought to you in part by Jorgensen Smart Bulls and their pasture-ready fall bull sale, which is going to be Friday, October the 2nd at 6:30 p.m. right here on dvauction.com. Jorgensen Land and Cattle is the largest supplier of Angus bulls in America. They feature proven bulls that are 30 months old or older. Don't miss that sale. It's an evening sale, an online sale there, Friday, October the 2nd at 6:30 p.m. Go on to dvauction.com and check out those videos, or for more information, go to jorgensenfarms.com. The Southern Plains Chill. I tell you what, Wednesday morning it was chilly down in the Texas Panhandle, and from what I hear all over southwest Kansas and all in the Southern Plains, I mean getting close to freezing type chill. But the cold wind blowing and wind spitting, and I tell you what, just sure made you think about fall. And I know we're in September, but it's been a long time since we've had this kind of cold weather this early in September. I guarantee you, I looked at that felt hat a couple of times on Wednesday there, but knowing that it's going to get back up in the 80s, I didn't want to be one of those guys that flip-flops around, so I just fought off the urge to wear a coat and a straw hat, and I'll just put it off till later in the month, because I know we got a lot of hot weather to go. But fall's getting here, guys. The guys in the mountain states, they know for sure it's fall. They had snow on the ground, but in September they're thinking about that already. Still got some grass yearlings to come out of those foothills of the Rockies there, and we saw some more of those kind of cattle sell here middle of the week. But tell you what, this market we're just right here where we're not sure where we're going to go, up or down. You think, well, hell, it's down because our fat cattle market is dropping like crazy. Well, we just don't have any leverage in your fat cattle arena to hold the market steady. There was no reason for your fat cattle market to be cheaper already this early in the week on a holiday week, but the guys just they're selling the cattle, just have zero confidence in it, and they're working with a negative basis to boot, and they're just beat up, and they don't have any really faith in themselves to try to hold the market together. You know, these packers have been in charge for so long here, and you look back, they've been in charge ever since the fire in Holcomb, Kansas, and we've had threatened talks about doing an investigation. Your packers aren't worried about any investigation. I mean, they've watched your cattle industry. They were worried about the investigation for a short time whenever we witnessed all the gouging that took place in the very worst of the COVID, and somewhat during the fire too. But you know, they're not worried about it. They were there for a while. They were kind of giving charity bids, token bids there, and giving the feedlots really more than they were asking for part of the worst of the COVID. But once we got out of that, and then we saw the initial report from USDA on the investigation, they say the investigation is still going on, but we're not really holding our breath for any more to come out of it. USDA already came out with the initial report on the investigation, telling the cattle industry to help themselves, you know, try to get some more leverage, you know, pass some legislation to get minimum negotiated cash requirement. And what did we see? We saw the industry's largest trade association fight it tooth and nail and basically thumb their nose at the USDA, telling them, don't tell us how to fix things. Well, that trade association is representing both your beef people and your cattle people, which is a complete conflict of interest, because those are two completely different things, and whenever they rely on one another, but one is a monopoly and the other you know, is a trade that involves a large percentage of the population but none large enough to really have any hand in the relationship, it's not fair. But your packers are not worried at all. But you know, we talk about what's going to happen here as we go forward in through the fall. There's going to be a point in here in the fall where the numbers, the supply numbers, are definitely going to be in the favor of the cattle feeder. But what good's that going to do? Your cattle feeder doesn't have any leverage to try to turn the tide and get those fat cattle market prices higher. You know, we were talking here just a few weeks ago if we were going to hold our market above $1 in September. Hell no, there's no way we're going to hold it here. We're at the 10th of September, and we got guys falling all over themselves to take $1.01. We're going to get further in here into the fall, and you think about those really light placements that happened back in the spring, and those are going to hit. We've got the numbers, the head counts of cattle down there where they're very manageable. Yes, the weights are heavier, but your packers are wanting cattle that grade better anyway, and they don't seem to be worried about the weights. But they're not going to tell you that. They use the Labor Day holiday and basically shut things down on the Saturday before, and then the Monday holiday. They use that as a bargaining tool to really get things lined up. And then last week they bought a lot of cattle out front, so they got those numbers to lean on. They're telling your cattle guys that they don't need any cattle until late September, yet they're coming in and bidding guys on cattle on a Wednesday when you had a Monday complete holiday there. They need the cattle. They're going to take cattle before the end of September, I promise you. But they've just got everybody buffaloed like they always do. But let's look at the board, and there's a lot of volatility on the board, and that helps your day traders and things like that out. But it's up one day and down the next, and gee and hawing back and forth. But really, no confidence in gaining any ground. But there are some things out there to make you think that if they did have some leverage, that we could get prices back up higher. But before I talk about the board, I want to mention that between now and the end of business day on September the 14th, I urge you guys to go to the federalregister.gov and place a comment on the Federal Trade Commission's proposal that's all about Made in the USA labeling rule there. This goes back to you know, your country of origin labeling, whether or not we can place ads on your retail beef that says Made in America, and if those labels have any bite to them or not. Right now, you can put you can put product of the USA on there, and it can come from somewhere else. A lot of the production of that product can come from somewhere else. But the Federal Trade Commission has put a proposal out that wants to allow them to strengthen MUSA, and don't let that MUSA scare you off like it kind of did me. That's Made in the USA. So they're wanting to strengthen the Made in the USA labeling requirements. Currently, foreign beef can receive Made in the USA labeling, and I know that has a lot of you guys very upset. And you know, we went through all that with country of origin labeling. Let's let this rule right here help enable us to put product of the USA on some of our retail beef. But you need to go on there and give a comment, and we need a lot of comments on there. And I haven't said anything up until now because I knew you guys would probably put it off anyway because you're procrastinating. But you need to get on that website between now and the end of business day on Monday and put a comment on there. You need to put something in the means of I support the FTC's proposal, but only if you will do this on beef products, and then tell them a little bit about your operation and the struggles you've had and how proud you are of the cattle that you raise, and you want to tell the consumer that they can feel confident that that product was born, raised, fed, and harvested right here in the good old US of A, and a lot of care was taken in all of those different sections of the production. But you think, well, I don't know how to do that. Go on to RCAF's website. They'll show you how to do that. You can go on to US Cattleman's website and show you how to do that. Try a little and do something that could help make a difference. Let's talk about the board. On Wednesday, October live cattle futures down $1.07. Well, they were up pretty good on Tuesday, which was the first day of trading. They took it right back 104.70 to end the day on Wednesday. December down 97 cents at 109.15. Going out from there, they were down 35 cents to down 60 cents. September feeder cattle down 55 cents at 138.40. Your October feeders down $1.60 at 138 and a quarter. Now this was all in the face of your CME cash feeder cattle index going up almost $2 since the last time it came out here early this week with the addition of those Monday special quotes that went in there from Torrington and Russell, Iowa. But, you know, your board pays no attention to any fundamentals anymore because it has proven so many times not to make a difference. So they just look at the squiggly lines on the charts, basically do anything they want to do, especially when they're trading in an off month that doesn't have to meet up at the end of it. And right now we've got a spot September month, and it's not just for that month, but all the way through your traded months. That has no ties to anything. It has just about as much to do with the price of tea in China. October 138 and a quarter to end the day on Wednesday. Look on out from there. Your feeder cattle traded months were down 75 cents to down $2. So pretty rough day on feeder cattle futures, even though they had a good one on Tuesday. Fat cattle trade mostly $2 lower, both live and dressed. For your sales that happened on Wednesday, and pretty significant trade on Wednesday, the market set. Iowa had confirmed sales 4,400 head from $100.50 to 101, and dress sales from 158 to 161. Nebraska 16,000 head confirmed, and likely more trade than that later in the day, but all your live sales at 101. And your dress sales from 160 to 161. Kansas 3,800 head at 101. So 101's the market. That's pretty depressing, and the guys just have no confidence to hold their heels in and try to fight for more, especially knowing that your packers have already bought cattle that they're going to be delivering over the next couple 3 weeks on top of all their formulated cattle, and without any incentive for them to buy more cash cattle. Why are they going to do it? Box beef cutout values were lower, and that's another thing that's going to hurt because your packers aren't making a whole lot of money, and so they're going to keep backing up because we're in a seasonal decline now. Choice cuts 222.95 down $1.87. Selects 207.51 down 95 cents. And I tell you what, as well as the cattle have been grading, you'd think that Select would hold up there a little better, but you know, almost all your big supermarkets are now featuring choice beef now, and your consumer knows enough about it that they're buying that up, and there's just lighter demand for the Selects. And until we get into some really cold weather when people start buying more cheaper cuts of comfort foods and roasts and things like that, we're likely to see a widespread, and on the end of the day, Wednesday, it was almost $15.50 between Choice and Select. Let's talk about your feeder cattle markets, and I got a lot of quotes for you. Real-time index on DV Auction late in the day on Wednesday at 140.57, up 35 cents, and we had some awful good sales on Wednesday. Like I said, your CME cash feeder cattle index, since it was out late last week, jumped almost $2. But look at your big sales. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, 4,700 head. Feeders steady to mostly $2 higher. That's significant, guys. And a few calves, lower undertone on them. But look at the big quote out on some big steers out of El Reno. 247 head, 935 pound all black steers, bring $133. Winter Livestock, Dodge City, Kansas. Feeders, steers, and heifers $2 to $5 higher. Heifer calves $1 to $2 lower, and demand was pretty light for calves around the central part of the United States because of that cold weather. And I tell you what, your calf buyers are scared to death of a health crisis in your calves already. They're sure not going to let the weather concerns this early in the fall to take them out. So they're really backing off of these calves. But tell you what, feeder cattle demand is really good and staying good. Talking about a big quote out of Dodge City. How about 58 steers weighing 773 at 145 and a quarter? Now I got some quotes I'm going to give you from all around the country, come out of Cattle Market Central with DV Auction. How about Bluegrass Stockyards East, Mount Sterling, Kentucky, if I could talk. They're still selling these backgrounded yearlings. A lot of them backgrounded on grass. I mean, they're put together and held back there in Kentucky. They're still selling them high, and you'd think they would start coming off of those because those cattle just naturally aren't going to have as much hair as your cattle that are raised, further west, but still selling really high. They're at Bluegrass Stockyards East, Mount Sterling, Kentucky. 60 head of 808-pound steers bring $143.50. That's $3 over your real-time index, guys, and we're talking about Eastern Kentucky. Talking about Mount Sterling. How about Sterling Livestock Commission, Sterling, Colorado? They sold 117 head of 898-pound, or just say 900-pound steers at $138.10 at Sterling. Wow. How about Lewiston, Idaho? Lewiston Livestock Market there. They had some steers in there weighing well into the 8s at 142. But Bassett Livestock Auction, Bassett, Nebraska, 3,700 head there. Anytime they have one of those big specials, I tell you what, they just set the world on fire. Look at this market report on DV Auction from Bassett, Nebraska there. Look at your best tested weights in there and the weighted average on all of those. Those aren't just the very best, they're all of them. Come out of Cattle Market Central there, your automated market report. How about 402 head of the 8-weight steers out of Bassett? They averaged 856 pounds at 146.43. And they called, compared to 2 weeks ago, they called the yearling feeders steady to $2 higher. How about 1,303 head in Bassett, Nebraska, 9-weight steers? Over 1,300 head of them. They averaged 940 pounds at 143.20. Look at some heifers. 367 head of 7-weight heifers averaged 753 at 140.01, and 517 head of the 8-weight heifers in Bassett averaged 849 at 136.42. Biggest quote that I saw out of Bassett on Wednesday was 123 head of NHTC steers that weighed 785 and $162. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.